From what I've heard, Maru has been struggling on the new multiplayer balance patch so far. Today we're gonna have a look at his RSL run, so this is from the group stage of the RSL, where in his first best of 3 series, he's facing off against Nightmare. This is of course a match that Maru is certainly the favorite in, but I haven't seen these games yet, so I'm excited to find out exactly what ended up going down. We're starting off in map number 1 on Eternity's Edge. The map is actually called at Eternity's Edge, but that's so weird because I usually say we are spawning on at Eternity's Edge. Doesn't make sense to me, so maybe I should just make it shorter to Eternity's Edge. Anyways, there's an SCV going across the map immediately, and it seems to me that Maru wants to go for a cheeky proxy barracks. We've been seeing this quite a lot from Terran players at this level. I don't know if they just feel really uncomfortable playing the macro game against Protoss right now. I mean, we've seen other Terran players be very successful in this matchup. At the very least, as far as the overall win rates goes, it seems like Terran's doing a little bit better against Protoss than pre-patch, but apparently Maru across the board not really having that great of a time on the ladder. Of course, though, you always have to take the ladder with a grain of salt. Ladder is very much so for experimentation purposes primarily, but there's no denying that Maru did drop down on the Korean server quite a bit. And, well, at least hopefully for him, he's going to be able to bounce back up. Nightmare, on the other hand, has been somebody who's been very, very much so on the up over the last couple of years. I've been super impressed with some of the Nightmare games. So I'm excited to see if maybe with this patch leveling the playing field a little bit, whether or not he's going to be able to climb to the upper echelons of StarCraft as well. But of course, his opponent here, Maru, is the most successful tournament player from South Korea that we've ever had in StarCraft 2. So this is going to be an uphill battle. Quick Marauder push here from Maru, very committed. Getting the probe scout out is really good. Nightmare's been looking around and he doesn't really see anything. He sees the gas, no command center. He probably knows that this is all a little bit fishy. And for now, at least, he has not gone for the Nexus on the low ground. There is a probe waiting. But I really don't mind the idea, indeed, of letting that Zealot finish and maybe even just going for a Stalker before you really commit to anything. Yep, that's exactly what we do. Do you go Nexus into... It's so hard, right? Like, what exactly is the correct approach right now? Do you blindly place down shield batteries? He's looking around, but he can't really find too much. Still scouting with the probe on the other end of the map. 2 Marauders right now. Concussive shells are going to finish up. And Maru is sending it. This Zealot, super dead. It's not going to be able to even do any damage. Maybe slice the SCV once. Okay. Nah. Poor dude. Of course, this is a big commitment, though. Killing the Nexus alone here is nice. But it's a big commitment here by Maru to start the game off like this. He is going as well for a factory right now at home. The scouting probe is still out there, so you could consider a little bit of cheese. Shield battery, though, is going to come up. Second Stalker now available. Probes have to be pulled as well to try and soak some of the shots or potentially deal some of the damage. Are both of those Stalkers going to die? Another Marauder is going to be joining us in just a moment. Warp Gates, actually, is going to be kind of sick, right? Just being able to produce the Stalkers 40% quicker is a big deal. Now, those Marauders will die, but they did get a second Stalker. At this point, I really don't mind the spot here for Nightmare very much at all. He's trading this out. He's got another base. The Marauder count has been reset. And Nightmare is going to be able to now get that boost from the Warp Gates pretty soon. I'm not sure if it's worth going for the transformation in a setup like this. Concussive shells, of course, they do slow everything down. Misfire right there onto one of the Marauders. Still, though, a Stalker for a Marauder is never a bad trade for Nightmare, who's got an expansion. Probe, in the meantime, trying its best. We have a Cyclone as well that Maru is going to be following this up with, so a cheeky one base all-in to start all of this off. Maru has no intention on making another base anytime soon, it seems. Yeah, so he's actually not transforming the gateway. So the new Warp Gate research, it speeds up the production by 40%, and then on top of that we get Chrono Boost. So the Stalkers can just be warped in so quickly without a Warp Gates. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if we really needed the second gateway here. It's one of the questions, right? Is it worth it? Could you just have protected this on a single one instead? If you're gonna chrono it continuously? Either way, it's not worth spending the 25 minerals or 25 gas, although he could go ahead and transform it right now and basically get like an extra burst of additional unit production out. At this point, though, he's lacking the resources. There's the Cyclone. He's managed to go all the way across the map, but look at suddenly the amount of Stalkers that we have. Lock-on has been wasted. That's another 2 Marauders down. And I've got a feeling we're not really going to be able to achieve much with this one Cyclone either. Good defense here by Nightmare, who's now going to be able to get the benefit of the double bases up. Beautiful game. All right. In the meantime, there is a command center. It's only about 2/3 or so of the way done. We're going to go into the Twilight Council now. I think Blink is still going to be an excellent follow-up, especially if you've already been forced to make. He's trying to put it up on top of the pillar. Does that work? I don't even know. It's gonna burn down anyways. It doesn't really matter. Maru wanted to hide the barracks on top of the pillar. It's a bit of a weird spot. I don't think you can ever really do it. Pretending to be an overlord. I think it's way too big, no? There's no way that that works. Anyhow, Nightmare is gonna celebrate now with even a 3rd Nexus, it seems. He's going charge. Okay. I feel like Blink really is the go-to here most of the time, but Nightmare has decided to take matters into his own hands. I love the confidence, right? Like, you can really see that over the years, especially for players like Nightmare. You can see their confidence grow. So we've got our quick Nexus here. What in the world is Maru going to be able to do about this? Maru's maybe got some benchy aggression, but he should be able to get an Observer out. Observer is going to be a little bit delayed, though, as long as we have a shield battery. Do we not have a shield battery in the natural at all? That's kind of crazy, actually, considering this aggression. So, you know what? Maybe... Oh, misfire as well onto the plate. Doesn't really do anything, but maybe we can still put in a little bit of work here. There's finally the shield battery, but 6 probes is honestly better than nothing. Yeah, maybe get 7. That may actually bring Maru back into this game now. So, Maru's real follow-up is not going to be until Stimpak, combat shields, +1 infantry weapons, and all the rest of it is done, which is ages away. As a matter of fact, he's gonna go into a 3rd Benchy now. Maybe he should go for the Benchy speed improvement too at this point. Is it worth it? He's got a lot of gas. He's gonna get more gas, I guess. Probably wants to be getting the combat shields instead, though. It does make more sense. 9 probes is pretty dang good. That's more successful than the Marauder opener from earlier. 8 Marauders died. And what we really should have done here is get the shield battery done a little sooner, or maybe just get the Robo facility up a little bit quicker as well. Okay. So, where do we take this game from here? Keep in mind that Nightmare here has charge done. Charge is really good at intercepting siege tank pushes, but you're not really going to be able to attack a base like this very easily. When the siege tanks are already sieged up, when we have the advantage of the Sim City, it's very difficult for Protoss to really break this, nor would it really be strategically a good choice, right? Because he's got the 3rd base up. Maru is stuck on 2 bases. Why in the world would the player with 3 bases be attacking the one with 2? Triple Benchy going in. This is just here, so they can hopefully kill another 12 probes. I'm gonna say 3. He still, by the way, has not transformed the gateways. Kind of sick. 1, 2, 3. Oh! Oh! 4. Dang, I was wrong. 5. 6. 7. No. Don't say it. Get owned, Gen Alpha. It was just gonna be 6. Alright. Maru really trying to stabilize, though, and he's done an amazing job here. He did need to get a little bit lucky, I will say. This could have gone absolutely atrociously wrong for him, but it's those couple of Benchies that have really put in the work, and now suddenly the SCV pain train is going across. We have the Benchies as well now joining in to try and take away this army. Maru trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and I think he may just be able to get the job done. Then again, this is still a scary amount of Protoss, but there's no Colossus. There is no Disruptor. There's no Psystorm. It's just Stalkers and Zealots against all of this. Maru's very much so all in with this, though. There's really not a base to go home to, but I mean, the Zealots are just getting utterly destroyed. And what in the world are those Stalkers going to be able to achieve? Blink is going to be finishing up. decent, I guess. I don't even know if there's really enough to clear out all of the siege tanks at this point, let alone all of the rest of his army. Maru playing this cautiously. Widowmine still protecting. Yeah, and I think we are just about to see an entire mineral line disappear. He will try to get rid of one of the siege tanks. Okay, he gets hit, but this is still a game that Maru managed to turn around. Okay, and that takes us now to the Ruby Rock. Now, real quick, in case you're unfamiliar with the group stage of the RSL. So it uses a GSL style group. And the way that it works, I know they use this actually in other esports as well, which I always find kind of ironic. Sometimes you hear other esports referring to GSL style groups, and you're, I think, not always aware. At least I don't think a lot of the fans are always aware that it is something that comes directly from StarCraft. But anyways, it's a 4-man group where 2 players move on. And to determine who of the 2 players move on, you have the 2 sets of players facing off against each other first, and then you have the winners playing against each other for the first slot. The second slot gets decided by the loser of the winners match going up against the winner of the losers match. It sounds kind of complicated, but really, if you think about it for just a little bit, it's not that hard. It's a little different than Round Robin. Round Robin is another very popular format where basically everybody in the group plays against everybody else. Maru, by the way, here in game number 2, has decided to now go across the map here as well. Once more. We're sending it again. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that if Maru wins this, he will be facing off against the other winner for the winner's match. Okay. Maru, of course, certainly somebody you expect to move on. Actually, for this particular RSL season, the finals gets played over in Korea, or not over in Korea. Normally it gets played over in Korea. This time around, it gets played over in, well, in America for BlizzCon, which is pretty sick. So, obviously, that's why we have some players deciding to sign up. As you may have noticed a few days ago, I did cast the Serral games from the RSL as well. Serral had never played in the RSL before, but then they announced, I guess, the finals are at BlizzCon. And he decided, you know what? Don't mind if I do. Not a proxy Rex this time around. This was a proxy engineering bay blocking the natural expansion, forcing Nightmare to take the 3rd base first. Ruby Rock, by the way, not officially a ladder map anymore, but apparently the RSL is running it for another season. I know the RSL actually has people vote on what the map pool should be like, and sometimes they run ladder maps, sometimes they don't. It's actually kind of fun. Back in the day, we used to have 7 maps, and then all the tournaments would run on those 7 maps. But these days, we have 9 ladder maps, which already on its own is pretty sick. But then we also have some tournaments using some other maps from the, for example, the Team Liquid map contest, or from an older map pool, like, for example, this one. I know it can sometimes maybe be, as like a casual fan, a little bit confusing, because there's like, I don't know, probably about 15 maps that regularly gets played, but as somebody who watches and casts a lot of StarCraft, I really like the fact that we have so much variety. It's a Marauder opener yet again, by the way, here for Maru. Similar, of course, to the previous game, but building it at home this time around, and doing so after a Reaper and an Engineering Bay block. Now, when do you send them across the map? 2 more barracks as well. So it's a triple Rex. That means we're not going to be seeing any sort of Banshee shenanigans. We're not going to be seeing a Cyclone in this game either. I'd be very surprised. These other 2 barracks will likely get some additional add-ons. And then we're going to be going into the good old upgrades. So here we go. We have the boys marching across. And they'll be joining hands here with the Reaper. One on the right side, one on the left. Reaper gets to hold both hands at the same time. And like a family, they go across. Nightmare, though, is going to see it now. Is there enough for Protoss to hold? He's got a shield battery. He did also go double Stalker, but then into a Sentry. Shield battery is real nice, though. Yep. 3 probes, not terrible. He's going to lose both of the Marauders, and obviously this is quite a big commitment. Yeah, 3 probes after an Engineering Bay block. I think that my Nightmare already had to deal with most of the scary stuff in this particular game. It's always a little bit risky, right? When your natural expansion gets blocked, do you just try to kill the block, or do you take the third base as your first expo? Well, oh, he was thinking about taking this one next. Nah, you should certainly be taking your own natural next, Nightmare. Doesn't make sense to now also split up your fourth base. Still making a lot of sentries, by the way. Yeah. Robo facility as well. A little bit of a supply block here for Nightmare. That is unfortunate, because now suddenly these follow-up attacks can become really scary. The combat shields is going to be a little bit disjointed from the stim pack. Those upgrades are not going to finish up at the same time. You should really be getting it now. He's got the money for it. No combat shields, Maru? Dude, don't tell me this is going to be one of those games where we forget combat shields. Don't do it. Combat shields is like the... Okay, luckily, we do not forget about it. But it's like the one upgrade that we do occasionally see Terran players at the highest level forget. It is a major problem. The unit is balanced around it having Nightmare, or... about it having combat shields. It's a nightmare if you don't. Speaking of Nightmare. Jump scare! Maru now noticing that his units didn't take damage. But you never look a gift Colossus in the mouth. That's what my grandma always says. And you know what? She's right. So what we don't have here for Nightmare is a Twilight Council. Nor do we have a third Nexus. He just built the pylon over here, but that's it. This is a very curious follow-up right here by the South Korean Protoss player, who I think is just going for an extremely old-school looking push. He needs to make sure that he can defend this first. I don't really like that proxy pylon positioning. Maru's gonna stumble upon it immediately. There's just so many units, though, and force fields are huge! Force fields can put in so much work! The SCV train was arriving yet again, but Nightmare catches this army before it even gets across the map. And now suddenly the proxy pylon here up north is going to be extremely valuable. Another good set of force fields, slicing so many of these Terran army units in half. This is an excellent attack here for Nightmare, but he needs to double down. He did make another base as well. We have some hallucinated... Oh, I love that. Some hallucinated probes, so he can set off any potential Widow Mines. When you hallucinate probes, you get 4 of them for the price of 1 hallucination. Robo Bay as well right now, though, for Nightmare. This is a push you would never see from Protoss on the old patch. There would always, at the very least, be a Twilight Council. Now, Nightmare is happy to just deny mining time here. He's not planning on pushing, but Maru doesn't know it. Nightmare has decided that he wants to expand behind it. Okay, Maru now indeed realizes, wait a second, you're not being nearly as aggressive as you're pretending to be. Risky move out there, right? Like, he doesn't know exactly if the Protoss army is gonna go home. He sends the SCVs back, and what does he leave behind over here for base defense? It's these guys. Good luck! Maru here escaping death. A calculated risk, I suppose, but... certainly could have backfired. He really wants to snipe this base, and that's what he's gonna try and do. He knows that there will be another Nexus. We gotta stim in and kill. Honestly, just target the Nexus, yeah. This could be massive here for Maru. The Protoss army is approaching, but again, there's no blink, there's no charge. Beautiful, beautiful move here by Maru. A big risk, but he gets paid for it. We have Colossi with ranged on the back of this right now for Nightmare, who just restarts up the Nexus yet again. Twilight Council eventually coming up. But all of this is a little bit shaky now for Protoss. Maru's been very reluctant to play the macro game in his matchup. He already didn't really like doing it very much at the end of the previous patch. We saw a ton of SCV pools at the time. Well, I think in this instance, getting a third Nexus up is not a bad idea. Snipes the gas geyser, gets on out. Look at the sentry count, dude. You'd imagine the sentry got a huge buff or something, right? But, nah. I mean, maybe in Protoss versus Zerg, but not so much in Protoss versus Terran. Still nice. The return of the sentry. Okay. So we're settling in here for a bit of a macro game. I like this position better, though, for Terran. Generally speaking, in this matchup, it's Protoss who's a base up. And obviously, in this case, well, Maru has got more supply, and he's got the same amount of bases. Couple SCVs yet again in the mix. Probably just for repairs. Colossus is going to be fantastic here, by the way. So many sentries, though. There's like no firepower in this Protoss army at all. He can use this army, of course, to keep the Terran back, but he needs to get some actual damage out. Okay, good force fields once more, though. The force fields are really nice. Stalker Warp in. Another Colossus. Disruptor on the back of this. More force fields, dude. I love the force field focus. It's so sick. Maru should have been pumping out Vikings a little bit sooner, because those Colossi are just having a good time. That was a nice hit. Killing 3 sentries there with 1 shot, if I'm not mistaken. Slowly but surely, though, the Pro's reinforcements are getting here. Now the sentries are mostly gone, but we have a disruptor as well. Okay, that was a bit messy. Overextending. Good movement right here by Maru. He's trying to see if he could potentially snipe the base. Viking numbers are also growing, and you know what? Nightmare decides to just give up on this position altogether. A lot more Terran units do get roasted, but it's those siege tanks that are the main problem. Without charge, what in the world are you going to do right here as Protoss? And Maru knows it. Yeah, Disruptor can be nice. But the Nexus is already gone. And now we're talking 3-base Terran versus 2-base Protoss. A stronger army to boot as well. Better upgrades. All of this has been navigated into a much better spot right here for Terran. It's been complex. It's been messy. But Maru is doing it. Yeah. Beautiful games. GG. Okay, and that takes us to the winners match. So the winner of this best of 3 series moves on to the playoffs of the RSL. Again, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have none other than Maru. And then his opponent, there were 2 more Zergs in the group. So we had Nightmare, we had Maru, then we had Solar, as well as a Rogue. This is a banger of a match. Both of these guys are ridiculously successful in their StarCraft 2 careers. Rogue evidently taking down Solar in their opening match. That's a Zerg versus Zerg. Obviously a very difficult matchup and one that's really quite volatile. We see players going back and forth even at the highest level all the time. Rogue, though, an absolute monster. Somebody who you can never count out. Whenever we discuss who the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time is, it was always between Zero and Maru. But really, you could make a very good argument as well for Rogue. Zero these days, head and shoulders, I would say, above the rest, especially a couple years ago. It was a more interesting discussion, but Rogue is, of course, one of the few StarCraft 2 millionaires. There are 4 players that have ever made more than $1 million in tournament earnings. And Rogue is one of them. Maru is another one of them. Then we have Cyril and Dark. Dark, of course, off to the military. And Rogue had to do the same thing some time ago, where he also went off to the military. And I guess the main thing, right, that kind of seems to happen if you're Korean and you go off to the military and you return, is that you kind of have to start again from scratch. Players just don't really assume you're ever going to be as good as you ever were. And it's a bit rough. But yeah, it's not too surprising, I guess, if you can't play the game for like a year and a half. You are going to fall off the wagon a little bit, and it's happened many times where players don't really get back to their previous level. Rogue is back at his previous level. Maru, by the way, managed to get an exception for the Korean military, so he would be of that age right now. But from what I understand, I don't really know the exact details, but at least from what I know, Maru apparently played so much StarCraft that he messed up his shoulder. So a lot of Terran players especially have all kinds of like joint issues in their arms and their shoulder and their wrist and all the rest of it. So apparently Maru managed to get an exception because of that. Yay? I don't know. Is that a yay? I would hate going off to the military, especially if I have a successful career. Being forced to take a year and a half off, not ideal. But anyways, yeah, Maru does not have to go to the military. So he's going to be able to keep grinding. Or maybe not too much because I guess his shoulder hurts. But anyways, it is though something that's really disrupted a lot of Korean players over the course of all these years. But Rogue versus Maru is a matchup that has happened many times before. And a matchup that has always been fireworks. Now, like I said, I heard that Maru has been struggling quite a bit on the new patch. And across the board, I would say that for this particular matchup, it's better for Zerg and slightly worse for Terran. Maru opening up with a triple CC build here. So triple command center, Heli and Banshee probably. We'll probably see a starport in a moment. Probably right about right now if I were to make a guess. A little bit. Needs to get an orbital. Needs to get another Hellion. But I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to be seeing one of those come up in a bit. Could also go for a second barracks. Rogue will scout. Curious to see what a Rogue will play as well in this particular matchup. Rogue, by the way, on the other hand, has been on an absolute tear lately. Ever since the new patch went live. I haven't seen that many Rogue games. I think I've seen only like 1 or 2, but Rogue has gone on an absolute tear just across the board. Making a ton of links right now. And a Baneling nest? Wait a second. Is this a Baneling bust? Oh, okay. He is not respecting this at all. He's looking at this Terran build and he's like, yo, you're gonna not have any units available if I go across right now. Maru's checking. He sees the lack of workers here. He saw the timing of the third hatch, but he doesn't know about this gigantic army on the other side. Do you just send it before we even get to any Banelings? Is this a wall? Oh, I guess it is. A little bit weird. Decides to target fire down the barracks itself. You cannot repair a barracks or any Terran structure until it's done. So that means, yeah, that the door right now is wide open. Still, though, we do need more units here, and I think there are more coming. Looks like the Hellions in the meantime got cleaned up. I love that one Baneling here, preventing another structure from completing the wall off yet again. And now the Bombas are arriving. It takes 5 to kill a supply depot, so there's plenty available. This is very ambitious, but already GG gets cold because he knows he can't stop the flood. Okay, look. Serral is definitely the most refined player for Zerg. There's no doubt in my mind. He's got the best macro, the best micro. He has the best strategies. But he doesn't really have the same killer instinct that Rogue has. Rogue, throughout his career, has always done this. He's got a game plan, but he's willing to deviate at a moment's notice. And I think what he saw just now is a vulnerable Terran, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna bust his ass. And I'm just gonna do it. This is a build order that's very popular in Gold League, rarely played in the higher echelons of StarCraft. But Rogue saw a vulnerability and immediately went after it. And it makes it so that you're extremely unpredictable. Rogue back in the day, I mean, I've mentioned this many times before, but I think it's the best example that I can give you for Rogue's playstyle. Rogue back in the day had the very best Zerg late game on the planet. In that particular meta, though, he found out about a Nidus worm build that worked most of the time. So what happened? He never played late game. He was just Nidus cheesing everybody. So you're known as like the best late game player on the planet and you never play late game. It was weird. It was a strange time period, but Rogue doesn't care. He's here to win. He doesn't really care about the method in which he gets the job done. And I think he's got to be one of the scariest players to go up against. This map, by the way, it's called Void Storm. What in the world is going on here? It's beautiful. Oh, there's a healing shrine right over here in the middle. I don't recall casting a map on Void Storm. Have I? Maybe. I cast a lot of StarCraft. Generally speaking, my viewers know better than me, which is weird, but I guess it makes sense. Sometimes I ask a question like that and somebody's like, actually, Lowko, you know, you did this on this and that date. Here's the video proof. I guess this is what happens when you upload a lot of content. Anyways, I don't recall this map. But maybe I have casted a game on it in the past. Double barracks opener here for Maru. In the most recent hotfix, the one that went live after the most recent patch, they did increase the Reaper build time by 2 seconds. I don't really know exactly how much worse this strategy is because of it. Haven't really seen any Terrans, though, opening up double wrecks. It does just delay your command center on the low ground here quite a bit. Rogue not cutting Zergling speed or anything along those lines. How many Reapers do we make? I'm assuming it's just going to be 3. No, it's actually more. He's adding on a 4th right now, too. A little bit weird here for the Zerg, because normally we would see the double barracks right over here. Now, Rogue actually didn't even fly forward enough to spot it. There's a pillar over here where the Overlord could hang out on instead, but Rogue has decided to, position his OVs in such a location that apparently he can see all of this movement, but he didn't know about the double racks. Right now, he will know. It's not possible to be producing this many Reapers out of just a single Rex at this stage in the game. So it's triple command center after 4 Reapers. Actually, even a 5th Reaper. I really don't like 5 Reapers. You need to deal some sort of damage with this. My main concern is metabolic boost. If there were no metabolic boost, life is good. Good for the Terran, that is. But this is, this is bad. This is really not what you want here as Terran at all. Suddenly, Zerg has, misfire. Where are you going, buddy? Jeez, where are you going? Oh my god, Voidstorm. Voidstorm is crazy. I don't know what the gravity is on this planet. Looking at the little Zerglings jump around, I guess it's mostly normal, but that was not good here for Terran at all. Now, obviously, he does have a 3rd command center, right? And the 3rd CC is going to give him quite a nice economy boost. But Rogue is basically going to be able to do whatever he likes for, like, the next 4 minutes. And that's scary, especially against Rogue. If you're going up against Serral right now, what do you think Serral's going to do? He's going to make an expansion. He's going to make drones. He's going to probably go lair. He's probably going to get baneling speed. Something like that, right? At least you can make an assumption. But if you're Maru right now, the sky really is the limit. I would say more often than not, you can expect Zerg to try to macro their way out of this. But it's certainly not a guarantee. Lair, 3rd base, many little workers. We could be healing up little Lenny over here. Little Lenny, go to the healing shrine, bro. No, it's right over there. Yeah, Lenny! Oh. Just a little touch up. One little. That's all we get. New sound effects in StarCraft as well, man. We have the blue of the Xel'Naga healing shrine. And we have the whomp of the Archon morphine. Incredible. And they said StarCraft was getting stagnant. Man, how many Reapers are gonna be sacrificed? It's crazy. Oh, no low HP units. All right, so this is actually exactly what, I predicted Serral would do, right? So it is quick lair, it is quick drones, it is quick 3rd, it is quick 4th. It is baneling speed. So what are Maru's potential follow-ups right now? So we had an extremely active early game. I don't really think he can do anything other than some medevac drops. And probably turtle his way to a maxed out state. Alternatively, you could do a triple CC 8 Rex. But look at Rogue's vision on the minimap. He's got a nice little group of spotter units all over the bases. What in the world do you do against this? Medevac drops are likely gonna get scouted. So you just give too much freedom here to the Zerg. That's my main, I guess, criticism of the 5 Reaper build. I think 3 Reapers is good. 5 Reapers just seems such a big commitment. Unless Zerg goes for, like, the very quick 3rd hatchery, so you can actually reactively play 5 Reapers. If you see Zerg is cutting Zergling speed in order to get a faster 3rd Nexus, or 3rd hatchery, I think at that point, getting the 2 additional Reapers is good. But blindly opening up 5 Reapers against 2 base, I'm not sold on. Brenda, don't do it! Brenda, no! The hive needs you! I need a larger mouse pad, bro. Dude, this map is nuts. I kind of love it. The ragdolls. don't really seem to line up with the way that, like, on a map like this, right? If gravity is indeed out of whack, you would imagine the Marines also being able to make little hoppies. Yo, can we do that in a new patch? Hopping Marines? Give the Zerglings the same level of speed, but they can make little leaps up in the air instead because of the reduced gravity? That'd be sick, man. Banelings get targeted down yet again. Maru trying to make the best of this. But he knows he's going to be in a very passive spot for the foreseeable future. Yeah, you unload a medevac. The units take like 3 seconds each to fall out. You know, I used to think that that would all be terrible. Because StarCraft is such a clean game. But I don't think it'd be that bad. Like, if you have the same level of gravity, I think it'd actually be really interesting. Anyways, maybe I just like chaos now. Man plays Age of Empires 2 for about a month. Immediately we love chaos. It would be interesting, though. Widowmine's not really achieving all too much. We've got ourselves a good old infestation pit as well. And we'll probably see a hive. Rogue is going to try and test the waters, though, with a pretty scary attack. Keep in mind, he's just one map away from securing his seat in the playoffs of the RSL. And this is an attack that's really scary. There's not a lot of siege tanks available, if any at all. And that now means that the third base is in a world of trouble. Second factory gets denied. Drilling claws as well because of it. Say goodbye to your SCV line right over here. An absolutely brutal attack from Rogue. Scary one yet again, right? Also a bit of a weird one. At this point, really the only thing that's still remaining is the medevac. So that means that Rogue absolutely wipes the floor with Maru in this series. Okay, and that means we move on to the Deciders match. Spawning right here, in the bottom right, it's Maru. So, he won his opening match, then he lost the winner's match, meaning that right now he's gonna go up against the winner of the loser's match. And that just happens to be Solar. So Solar got beaten by Rogue, and then he managed to take down Nightmare. It's a fun format, right? I think the GSL style groups are actually really good. It does create some interesting variety. So even if you have like the same 4 players in the same group, hypothetically speaking, you still get a bunch of variety because of the matches. It's really good. So this is a Deciders match right now. A loser of this is out of the tournament. Winner moves on. Nightmare, sadly for him, already being eliminated. Necropolis. Game number 1. This new song, by the way, is pretty cool. I like this one. Bit of a banger. Across the board, I think the 5 Reaper opener is bad. I'm not sure why Maru likes it. Against the 2-base Zerg, I think he just cut it. So what we've seen, for example, Beyond do is open up double barracks. He starts off with 3 Reapers, but if he sees that Zerg is not going for the really quick third hatchery, aka the one where you pull drones out of gas to like speed up the timing of the third hatch, if he sees that, he even cancels the 3rd Reaper. So it feels really weird, because now you're opening up with a 2 barracks and just 2 Reapers, right? And then you make a command center on the back of it, so now your 2 barracks are just kind of idle. It feels inefficient, but I think it's actually the best approach. You could go for the 3rd Reaper every time, because you can still bully Zerglings and the Queen and maybe a drone. But 5 Reapers is just such a big commitment, and you lose all momentum. Especially if you lose them before metabolic boost is done. Anyways, Solar with a bit of a different timing here across the board. Shouldn't really matter all too much. I would say that Solar is far more predictable than Rogue. So I think if you're in Maru's shoes here, this is a slightly more comfortable match. But never count Solar out. Solar is one of those Zerg players who's quietly been like a top 10 player for about a decade. And while he's rarely picked as like a tournament favorite, he's always like a round of 8, a round of 4 kind of guy, right? And he can win against anybody. Solar winning over quite literally anyone would rarely be an upset. I'm not sure if there's anybody out here. Or anybody out... Maybe like Clem? I wonder what Solar's win rate is against Clem. I feel like it can't be too good. Feels like that is a matchup that's a bit tricky. Should I look it up? Hold up. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Aligalek does a really good job keeping track of all of those games. And I can actually find the results. Clem versus Solar. I feel like it's probably one of Solar's trickier matchups. Yeah. So Clem is 65 and 27 against Solar. So Clem has a 70% win rate against Solar specifically. But I feel like across the board, Solar is somebody that does take down any player. With Clem probably being the hardest one, but that's just because Clem basically plays very stock standard Terran, but just does so very well. And that's kind of Solar's thing, you know? Solar plays stock standard Zerg, but he just does it really well. But maybe not quite as cleanly. Not quite as clinically as somebody like Clem. Anyways. I wonder if we're going to be seeing any of those Hydra Ling Bane type of attacks here from Solar. They have become more popular again. Hydra builds in general are quite a bit more popular. Interestingly enough, so I did recently cast Serral's games in the RSL, right? Serral was opening up with Roaches every game against Terran. I haven't really seen any of the other Zerg players mix in Roach builds at all. I'm trying to think. Have I seen any other Zerg player go Roaches on the new patch? I don't think the top-ranking Zergs really enjoy Roaches very much, but then Serral does it every game. Alright, anyways, Banshee's here for Maru. It's a triple CC 1-1-1. Overlord Scout is going to see it. Rest in pieces, Otto the Overlord. But you know what? Little Otto here is going to sneak on everything you have. Look at him snooping. He's dead now. But at least he gave all the intel that was needed. Queens take a bit of a beating. They're inviting those Hellions deeper onto creep. New Queens, though, are popping out. We have some Spore Crawlers now added into the mix. The timing of those is different. Used to be able to get them between like 4:30 and 4:50. Right now, of course, on a new patch, those times don't really line up anymore. As a matter of fact, I think these are a little bit too early. The one in the natural is fine, but the one in the main base is probably ever so slightly too quick. Could have had that drone maybe return an extra 10, 15 minerals or so. It's that level of refinement that we are still lacking on the new patch. But you can already tell, right, that the players across the board are more comfortable than in the first week. It's a lot of Hellions here. Okay, loses one of them immediately. 8 Hellions. I don't know if I like 8 Hellions that much. Saves the drone with the Evo chamber. You know it's not a good time, though, for the Terran when this is your main goal. Drone did die. Cloak is activated. There is an Overseer nearby. Many eyeballs. Maybe this is Otto. Otto's reincarnation, dude. He's got more eyeballs now. Congratulations, Otto. Hellions going in through the right. Okay. Good little set of drones. This feels a lot better for Maru, though, just across the board. He also managed to force the cancel on this base. Flies away with the Banshees. No Overseer speed available, so he's going to be able to slither away with those units yet again. Third command center, in the meantime, is done. We're starting up a nice little wall here. All of this is good. There's the Hydra then. Yeah, a lot of Zerg players have become Mutalisk Condoyers, but good old Hydraling Bane seems to be the main go-to strategy now. And especially, so we used to see Hydraling Bane a lot, but then usually it would always transition to Lurkers. Recently, though, just pure Hydraling Bane armies roaming the map for a very long time, sometimes even at Lair Tech, seem to be very difficult for Terrans to deal with. I guess it's just the timings that have changed a little bit, where it just doesn't really work out as well for Terran. These Banshees, though, have been phenomenal. This is how you like to see Banshees, right? Just roaming the map, even like being used later on in the game defensively is awesome. They're kind of, in my mind, kind of like oracles for Protoss. If you're a really good player, you keep them alive, they can get more and more value over time. Yeah. Maru is going to keep him around. This is also really good right here for Maru. Snipes the creep tumors. Ooh, that was a juicy scan. Got like 7, maybe 8 or so of those creep tumors. Second factory in the meantime, together with a 4th command center at home. Another base gets cancelled. 2-2 upgrades. That is something that's lacking at the moment for Solar. Solar really should be firing up those upgrades of his own. He's a little bit preoccupied though. No Zerglings, or no Hydras rather, to intercept the Medevacs. There we go. He does indeed fire them up. Infestation Pit. Pneumatized Carapace, that's the Overlord speed. Yeah, both players are trying to macro up. Maru's done an excellent job though, keeping the Zerg economy honest and then also denying a lot of the creep. Necropolis is a huge map, as we have some Widow Mines also going through. Necropolis is a huge map, so it just takes a long time for Zerg to goop it all up. Denying creep tumors this close to home is awesome for Terran. It makes any follow-up attack so much easier. Okay. There's barracks 6, 7, and 8 right now inside of the main base. And this all looks remarkably similar to the old patch. Hydras do close in onto a medevac. Do we have Lurker then? No, he starts up the hive right now. I'm assuming we're going to be adding on the extra gases and a Lurker den momentarily. Could stick around though on Hydraling Bane for the foreseeable future, but it does scream Lurkers to me now. Nah, this is also Solar. Solar is very much so a Lurker, man. That's how it goes. This is a Zerg player, man. Some guys are Ultra people. Other guys are Lurker people. This is something that happens. Some people like both. Some people prefer Lurkers one day and Ultras the next. It's a beautiful thing. Hellbat's on the Watchtower. Yeah, good against Zerglings. Not so great against the Hydralisks. Gonna be able to roast one of them. Push over here as well. Careful, Maru. We're taking a lot of friendly fire from those Widow Mines. Trying to target fire down a couple of the Banes. Does decide to use the new load medevac hotkey. Quickly bringing all of those units back to safety. There's a hit squad of units here in the bottom left that were just wandering around without a medevac supporting them. A little dangerous. Okay, Hive is done. Adrenal Gland's coming. +1 missile that will benefit the Hydras, the Queens, but of course also the Lurkers. Probably see some Lurker upgrades here momentarily. Oh, we're gonna prioritize Vipers together with the Hydra buff. Okay. Yeah, Solar is lacking gas. He should have been focused on getting all the gases going. It's a bit of a misplay. We saw the timing of the second gas in the main base too. This one was not taken until just now. Only 80 gas mined out of it. Which is the problem that he's running into right now. Lots of minerals, but no Vespene. Hatchery in the middle gets denied. Nicely done here by Maru. Is Maru gonna go Liberators? Is he gonna go Ghosts? Is he gonna stick around on Maria Marauder Medevac? Is he gonna go 11 Rex? Like, what exactly is the plan? Looks like, okay, he's already added on 2 additional starports. And then we'll go into the Fusion Core as well. The Terran Fusion Core, that is. So we'll be going into, oh, I thought for a second I called it a Fleet Beacon. No, this is actually called a Fusion Core. I get those two structures always mixed up in my head. This time around, I thought it was a Fusion Core, and it turned out to be a Fusion Core, but I thought I was supposed to call it a Fleet Beacon. Professional caster. Confirmed. Anyway, he will be going into the Liberator ranged, and then also the Medevac improvement momentarily. Command center count is growing, though. And we're looking at a really big macro game right now. One that can still be over in just a heartbeat. We're like one Baneling connection or Widowmine hit away from absolute disaster for either player. But if everything goes according to plan, we're looking at a long game here. Hydras are dashing around. We've got a Spire. We've got a Nidus network. Looks like a cheeky Nidus over here on the right side of the map. Will indeed be Solar's weapon of choice. Command Center will be building up a good planetary fortress hat on the right side. We should probably have a sensor tower here as well in this area. Maru does see the edge of the creep. But does he actually notice? Yeah, he does notice. Nicely done. Does start up a sensor tower here too. Nidus where I'm not really achieving all too much. Planetary is not yet finished. A lot of Zerg going through, but is there even enough Zerg? I don't think so. Nope. Maru standing his ground. Starts up the Liberator switch. Terrans have been a little bit uncertain about the Ghosts in the late game. Ghosts do seem really good. They do deal with pretty much everything Zerg really well, even on the new patch, even in its new version. But Liberators are another alternative choice. So these 6 Liberators coming up right now, they're basically the replacement for the Ghost here, I believe. A lot of stutter step micro between both of the players. For down though, not too bad. My main concern is the amount of Liberators that you can make. Like, you can't just make 50 Liberators, right? Like, how do you balance this? If you haven't seen Ultras or Lurkers, how many do you even really want to have? When do you go for any sort of air weapon upgrades? High-sec auto tracking. Building armor coming up. This planetary is dead, I think. That Terran army is close by. It's just a lot of Zerg. Yeah, Solar has built up a very nice bank. Mostly, though, because Maru is still investing into infrastructure. Building a ton of command centers still. +3 armor. For the mechanical units. New CC, no cancel. I was trying to push up towards the high ground here. This is where the Liberators can be so nice, right? They're kind of like siege tanks in a way, except they're much more nimble. Controlling space is their main goal. This is now going to allow Maru to tighten the noose on another hatchery. Circling run by in the meantime, though. Those are the ones that were previously killing a command center. Now they're going to go after another SCV, a siege tank, and whatever else they can hit. Plus, they're drawing a big chunk of the Terran army back home. Ghost Academy. Okay. Maru is not afraid of ghosts. Liberators. You know what I'd like here for Zerg? Just mix in a handful of Corruptors. We've been seeing this more and more lately, but I think just adding on a bunch of Corruptors can be so nice. Picking away at Medevacs, picking away at Liberators. Finally, by the way, we're gonna go Lurkers. Have we had any Lurkers yet? Nah, this whole game has been around Solar going into Lurkers, but he hasn't made any Lurkers until 16 minutes in. Kind of ironic. He just hasn't really found an opportunity for it. Another hatchery kill here in the middle of the map. Maru backs up again to the safety of the command center. Now we're going Ghost Liberators. Keep in mind, Ghosts are now 3 supply each, and they have less health. They're stronger across the board, I would say, but they're more heavily in supply, and then they're also, well, more flimsy. It's a risky unit to be making. Look at Maru's amount of, well, bank available to him right now, too. He's got 69 SCVs, which is nice. Now 67, that's for the Gen Alpha viewers. Anyways, he's got a decent amount of income, but he's got no bank. Every little bit of money that he's got, he's been building up with command centers, right? So he's spending all of it on CCs. Command centers are not free. Solar, of course, as a Zerg player, is having that big advantage. He does make a couple of Marauders, or, sorry, Corruptors right now. But that's one of the big advantages that Zerg have. Your infrastructure is just really cheap. 1 Hydra Den, 1 spawning pool. Yeah, you need to make a bunch of hatcheries, but you need those for mineral income anyways. This is just so much cheaper than all of this. Lurkers in the meantime on the far bottom left-hand corner. Solar also now harvesting off of 90 drones still. So his bank is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And that's his main goal at this point, right? Try to keep that Terran army somewhat small, keep the economy contained, and then win in the long run. Now, this is a beautiful fight, though, for Terran. Maru holds the base, trades out basically the entire Zerg army for minimum losses. Here's those Corruptors coming in, though. Yeah. Sniping a couple of units would be nice, but he's not going to be able to complete the snipe. So snipe, by the way, can no longer be interrupted unless the unit runs out of range. So in the past, whenever the ghost would take any form of damage or while the ability was channeling, the ability would be cancelled, but that's no longer the case. To make up for it, though, the ability is a little bit more expensive to use now. So from 50 energy to 75 energy. And since ghosts are capped at 200 energy at the most, it means that they can only hold 2 snipes each rather than 4. It's a different unit across the board, though. But it certainly is more specialized now. At least as far as its spellcasting goes. I think you want to mix in some, but you really don't want to have too many. Maru's going to have 7 here. I think that seems about right. He did rebuild some of the SCVs, though, and I think that's correct. Getting the gases going is also absolutely critical. Keep in mind that these mineral fields are increased, but the Vespian gas geysers are reduced. Meaning that the minerals last longer, but the gases do not. Good parasitic bomb over there, and this is an excellent fight here for Solar. Catching, well, about half of this Terran army right now off guard. This map is very wide, I suppose, and now a lot of Zerglings do get on top of all of those ghosts as well. There's plenty of detection nearby. These are fully upgraded links, so they're no longer messing around here. The ghost auto attacks also just don't make them as nice here to use against Lings anymore. Man, this is actually a phenomenal fight for Solar. Wait a second, did this game just end? Oh no. Maru doesn't have any gas. Maru forgot taking the Vespian gas geysers. Just like Solar did earlier on in this game, Solar managed to fix his mistake very quickly, but right now Maru can only make Marines. Turns out Marines are pretty good, but this is a bit of an issue right now, though, for Maru. Looks like he's not gonna lose his main base, but this is massively problematic here for the South Korean Terran. Because how in the world do you now deal with this Zerg army? He's still not taking the gases. He's still not taking it. What do you do against this? He can't do anything. Command Center dies over on the left side of the map. Liberators are dying as well. Caustic Spray is being used. Mass repair is nice, but again, this is all very costly. Maru's gonna run out of juice here real quick. I kind of feel like his one saving grace is that Solar is giving him the benefit of the doubt. Solar can't see his opponent's bank. Yeah, this is one of those situations that I guess as a Terran player at the highest level, you just haven't been in so much on the new patch. And because all of your other Vespian gas geysers run out sooner, so it's 250 gas less per gas. So from 2250 to 2000 each. The timing at which you're supposed to take these extra gases is now different. And Maru's just not quite used to it yet, I suppose. So same for the ones over here. These have been nibbled away at for a little bit too, but really not that much. I think for a Zerg, it's a little bit more straightforward. You're just gonna take him. Ooh, big detonation. And with these bases now getting denied, because Maru is unable to make an army other than Marauders and Marines. With these bases now getting denied, Maru's economy has taken an absolute nosedive. Yeah, Solar is giving his opponent the respect here that he deserves because of all these years of dominance in Korea, but Solar is in a far better spot. I think Solar should probably mix in like 2 Infestors. Fungal growth against this amount of Marines is really nice. Yeah, it's just pure Marine Marauder. Maru actually has now also spent all of his mineral bank. Unable to max out 29 SCVs. At least this is going to give him a nice little boost. It's a lot of Marine Marauder, though. Yeah, it is a lot of Marine Marauder. But what are you going to do with it? There's like 2 medevacs. Oh, there's 3. Correction. What are you going to do with his army? Ha! Solar decides to take the base right now. The mineral fields may smell of SCV, but who cares? Lurkers right now coming up in bigger numbers. Not as much micro here on this army as you would have liked to see. At least Maru will still have some scans available. Lurker numbers, though, are extremely difficult to deal with. Another stim gets used, but keep in mind, we have, like, no medevacs. Yeah, and I think this is a matter of practice. I think Terrans need to get used to the timing of the gas. It's the main bottleneck here that Maru ran into. Like, it's no longer a problem now. Ay. It's the old main base getting a little bit adventurous. It's no longer really a problem at this stage in the game, but it was earlier on, right? Maru's just been forced to go back to Marines way sooner than you would have liked. 23 minutes into the game, that's when you're still supposed to be at Liberator Ghost, not at Marine Marauder. You can see here for Solar, it's not nearly as much a problem. Solar has still got money for days. He's still playing a proper late-game army, whereas Maru is stuck on a mid-game ball. And his ball of units is good, but it's not going to be good enough. GG. Okay, and that takes us to Voidstorm. Match point right here for Solar. Potential elimination here for Maru. Pretty crazy group though, right? Maru, Solar, Rogue, Nightmare. Sorry for Nightmare, but I think most people would probably assume Nightmare gets eliminated out of that group. But who moves on? Well, Rogue has already moved on. That means that I guess you have to say goodbye to either Maru or Solar. Both of those players generally are supposed to make it out of this group. This map is kind of crazy, eh? It's very purple. I'm getting very strong Warhammer vibes here. Look at these Eldar symbols. What's going on? We have some bioluminescent plants. Crazy. Pool first here. Pool first for Solar. Pool first versus hedge first. It doesn't really matter that much. Generally speaking, hedge first is easier and more comfortable to play. But obviously, if you're going up against any sort of cheese, then, well, pool first is preferable. The main difference is a couple of larvae. So you do get more larvae out of a hedge first. But it's not as significant as you would think. Mainly because you get the first queen out quicker. So since the queen comes out a little bit quicker, you begin injecting a little bit quicker. You don't get as much an advantage from hatchery first as you would think. So if you're a ladder hero out there and you're struggling as a Zerg player in the earlier stages of the game, maybe just go pool first into a hedge first instead. Although this is more committed though. Yeah, we're gonna go 6 lings as well. CC on the low ground, no scout here for Maru. This is something that Maru does differently than Clem. Clem always SCV scouts. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say always, but like 99% of the time. Clem will lead the Reaper with an SCV. Not, by the way, that you're 100% safe as a Zerg player with a pool first versus early game cheeses. That's not quite how it works. But this right here is problematic, man. Now what's going to happen is that we go into the SCV here that's building the command center. Since we didn't go for an SCV scout, this is problematic here for Maru. He's now going to find out. And what do? This is one Marine to a reactor. Maru has to send that Reaper all the way back home. You kind of need the command center as well to finish up because of supply. Oh, man. Huge advantage right now here for the Zerg. If you know that the opponent does not go for an SCV scout, this is a brilliant way to open up. So much lost mining time as well. Oh, it's a disaster here for Maru. If you look right here at income, yeah, it's going to be an absolute nosedive. Now, there's a mule mining. So when this updates again in a little bit, I'm assuming it's not going to be as drastic here for Maru as it may appear, but it's still a huge issue. He actually canceled the command center. Wait, he actually canceled the CC, went second gas, and is now playing 1-1-1 on one base? Oh no. This is horrible. Yeah, Solar is reading all of this correctly. Goes into a quick lair. I would love to see a Baneling Nest. If he makes a Baneling Nest right now, I think Maru is dead. Not really much you can do here as a Terran. Like, one base versus Zerg? Nah. Huh. We're gonna go for a Marauder, or at the very least, I was gonna say Marauder Hellbat, but I guess this is gonna be pure Hellbat. I mean, if there's Roaches, if there's Banelings, it's gonna be impossible for Terran to do anything against this, but there is none. Solar may actually not be aware, yeah, of the command center cancel, so he didn't see the CC disappear. So he has decided to go quick lair into what looks to be a Spire. So there is a moment where Maru is going to be able to strike. This is just a 3-queen opener right now. Yeah, is when Solar realizes, wait a second, there's no base. He starts up the Spire anyways, but he needs more units. There's 2 spine crawlers available at this point in time, but that's not, I mean, it's not yet done. Medevac is here. Okay. Did Maru just risk it all and actually get the job done? Let's find out. This is a huge attack here. Oh my god. Is there enough? No Baneling Nest? No Roach Warren? Positioning here is really quite good for Terran. Keep in mind though, if the Spire finishes, obviously there's really not a whole lot you can do here as a Terran, but there are still some Marines available. Medevac gets targeted down, but the second Spine Crawler falls. Hellbats are absolutely roasting everything that gets within range. The problem is, Solar can lose all of the drones on this particular base and still be okay. And that's exactly, well, what Maru does not achieve. He does not kill all of the drones. As a matter of fact, he didn't kill a single one. And with that army going down, it is Maru getting eliminated out of the RSL. A very fun set of games for sure. I think if you would have looked at the sign-up list and the people that managed to qualify for the RSL, a lot of people would have assumed that Maru would make a deep run. But sadly for him, he gets eliminated in the group stage. GG.